Hi everybody, it's me, Basement Wargame Chris, to bring you a little fluff patch about all of our favorite religious zealots, the Protectorate of Menoth. So, Menoth has quite a interesting fluff and large amount of it, too. I'm pulling a lot of this from the internet and from what I know from fighting a lot of Menoth players. The first thing to really know about Menoth is that it has its capital, Emir. Its languages is Sulis, which is supposed to be a Signoran dialect. Everybody there is a Menoth worshipper, and their denomination is known as the Protectorate. While they're a theocracy, they're actually run by their warcaster Severus. So if you're interested in playing Severus, you get to play the hierarch of all of Menoth. So no caster kills on that one, folks. They were formed in 484 AR. I'm not entirely sure what the AR stands for, but if any viewers know, please post in the comment section below. And they have a population of over 1,600 or 1,064,500. So a lot of people. And their currency they currently use is the Trace Mark Stave. And apparently one of their big exports is jewels. So they're currently all over on a giant mine. And so while I know that the Protectorate is founded in 484, they're formed after, from what I'm aware, of a Signar and Khador war upon them. More specifically, a product of the Signoran Civil War, in which the hierarch Sulan drew Signoran Menites to Caspia in response to real or imagined threats to their Menite faith. It basically starts, though, when Sulan dies in 484 and the Protectorate's established afterwards. Signar refuses the right for them to have an army or warjacks, and as a result, the Menite faith ends up going to Caspia. They rename themselves Sul in Sulan's honor. After Sulan exists, it begins expanding to new nations and borders east and southward at the expense of Idrian villages, who actually they end up enslaving as well as just converting into the Mennonite faith. And they're also a very nice little small unit, very underused in the Menoth faction. During these conflicts, the Protectorate actually does raise a secret army. They use their flame guards and their knights as examples to keep small forces, but they use their labor jacks and convert them into more militarized versions of themselves. So eventually they're trained for quick mobilization, giving me the idea that Menoth is actually apparently, they're very fast as far as how their jacks as well as their people move. Fluff-wise, their capital actually even moves from Sul to a former Idrian village known as Emir, which is obviously now their capital. Emir is now pretty much a modern city, and aside from that, the most interesting fact is Menoth's Fury is one big thing that sets them apart. It's this mineral oil that they can create on the Protectorate territory, fiercely guarded. But it enables the construction of very unique fire-based weaponry, such as their grenades and their flamethrowers and their shells. The Protectorate was during war with Signar, and the reestablishment of their military was a key factor. So let's fast forward. It's no longer 484. It's now 605 AR. Still don't know what AR means, but like I said, please tell us and comment on the video in the section below. They've in 605, Protectorate captures a large amount of territory alongside the Bloodstone Marches, a very deserty area where Scorn actually in fact lived. And they also capture an area in Lael with a northern crusade. So this has brought the young theocracy into conflict with Khador, another very large country full of power, and I'm not too sure why they need more wars, but they decided on it. And Khador, who had actually provided jacks and finances to them so that they could help destabilize Signar. But the thing is that upon the wars with Khador, the Menites actually end up taking Khador worshippers of Menoth, and they allow for them to come in. And Kador fiercely stops them, I'm sure in terrible ways, either putting them into the Doom Reaver position or just killing them outright. But anybody who goes to Menoth is heavily punished. And so even though it's 605, in 607, they seize an area known as Lorraine from the Kadoran occupation, and they actually has a firmly established position against Kador. It's a position in the north that allows them to swell the ranks of the Menoth army, and I'm sure with Kador having to fight off between the Prix Signar and Legion to the north, and with the general inability for them to get around, Menoth actually has a nice firm standing here in the north. Now, even though they can go to the north, primarily Signar is a very hot place. It's next to a desert. It's very warm, and apparently the crops aren't very well maintained there because of the hot weather. So if you're playing Signar, you have to imagine it's pretty slim pickings for you, and wherever you go and raid and take, that's where your food comes from. Your new area, which is not in Menoth. Now, let's go to a little bit more in game. The Hierarch Severus, who's a warcaster, he is the undisputed leader of Menoth, and even though he has the Harbinger, who's his advisor, they're essentially in the peaceful ascension of Severus, the seat of the Hierarch. Similarly tied to Menoth is the Reclaimant Order under the High Reclaimer. But this order does not participate in the politics of Menoth. So, wow, that's a very busy lifestyle for Severus. He's out on the field, he has his different tiers, and he is still governing his body. So that's pretty powerful right there. And below the Hierarch are the temples of Menoth and the synods of Visigoths and Sul. Since Severus prefers a hands-on approach to the situation in Leo, the Visigoths run the day-to-day affairs of the Protectorate, and the temple has jurisdiction over the priesthood and the Scrutators, and over them, the rest of the Protectorate civil and military organization. So, for Menoth, I think a huge part is